to the world of common marmosets by Miss Janani. She has done international accounting and financing. At Life Science Education Trust, she has been focusing with New World monkeys and their behavior, propagation of different species, and creating right environment for monkeys in captivity. In her journey with LSeT for more than 10 months now, she has learned and made them to human interaction. A further study includes improving the species by propagating in the facility. So welcome ma'am, and I would like you to please start the webinar. Over to you, Miss Janani ma'am. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Thank you, Swaraj. So now I'm just going to talk about common marmoset as per my experience for last 10 months in LSeT. So common marmosets, like, let us go for the introduction about them. So this is the topic that we'll be covering. So the introduction, the physical description, lifespan and habitat, feeding requirements, housing requirements, daily health check, reproduction and parenting. This will be the basic things for marmoset keeping. So in introduction, so these are the smallest arthropods. So they are also called as true marmosets and white tufted ear marmosets. So they are basically the family of New World monkeys, one of the family, and they come from Mexico, South America, and in Central and South America. So the physical description, this is the picture that you guys see is a small monkey. It's the babies of common marmoset. So the adult marmoset will be weighing around 250 grams. The male will be weighing 250 grams and female will be around 230 grams. So their appearance, if you go to physical appearance, they have the black color hair with gray color and little yellowish shade. And they have a white band over their foreheads. And also they have their tail is like longer than their size. And you can see the bands all over the tail. So that is the physical description of them. And you can see in the first picture also, this is the common marmoset, as you can see. This is the picture of a parenting marmoset and this is an adult grown marmoset. So lifespan of them is like they live in wild. Researchers say that they live up to 12 years, but in captivity, it is about 16 years to 16 to 20 also. And they live long term also. But when it comes for habitat, they live in the Brazil, the northern east part of Brazil, and they always prefer to stay in a dry area. So it's like either semi-seasonal or semi-evergreen and dry areas they prefer to live in. So the feeding requirements, so in wild, they prefer to eat more of fruits and green matters like plants, flowers, and everything. And they sometimes eat lizards, frog, and we don't know what actually they eat. But in captive, here at LSeT, this is what we do. So in LSeT, we give them more of fruits, vegetables, and vegetables like sweet potato, broccoli, you know, sometimes capsicum. We give them cucumber. We give them what else? So, and in fruits, we give them seasonal fruits, all of the seasonal fruits, and we give them more of insects like superworms, crickets, mealworms, and roaches also. They like, but they love mealworms. And you can see in the picture that the adult marmoset with the baby is, was interacting with a human and was actually taking it from their hand and eating. And they are gummivores. They feed on gums. In the nature, they feed on gums. And so here in captive also we give them gum, and they eat on gum, insects, gums, fruits, vegetables. This is all that we give in the captive. So housing requirements. In wild, they are having exposed to the nature, like they have a big exposure area. They just roam around, they mark their own territories. So at least in captive, we try to implement the nature. So here you can see the picture where the marmoset is having an access to all of the things like the perches. We give them little gardening things, and we have given exposure. The whole of the area which is outdoor is will be around 10 to 8, 10 by 6, or by height will be 8 or 10 also. You can give as per your requirements, but you have to give them more of active environment, so they can just go around everywhere. They can limp, jump, and just hang all over things. So when we give this will be enough for them, and we need to give them the sunlight area. So more marmosets are actually require more of sunlight, so you have to, the outdoor should be of sunlight. So when it comes to indoor, so to hide themselves from the rain or any bad climate, we can give an indoor space with all the nest boxes and some kind of hideouts for them, so that they feel safe inside. So when it comes to daily health check, we can just check for the locomotion. So the monkey has to always use 4 of the legs to walk. So when they are limping, they can use the limbs. And you have to check for the eyes, if there is any eye discharge, any discoloration in the eye, any eye swelling. And we have to check for the nostril discharge. And you have to check if there is any external injuries, if there is any of these which has been figured out that the monkey is having. So you have to definitely call the veterinarian, and then you have to get it treated then and there. If not, it may be a life threatened for the marmoset. So reproduction and parenting. This is one of the amazing thing that I've seen in common marmoset. They are really good parents. Both mom and dad, the male and the female, really takes good care of the parent, of the babies. So when it first time when they reproduce first two, they always give birth to twins or triplets. Either of things will happen in captive. So once they are adult, their adulthood changes for adulthood comes in the month of 12. When they are adult is the 12 months of age that happens, and they are ready to reproduce at that time. Once the female is figured out, the scent marking is really important for the marmosets. So once the scent marking is done, that is how the male comes to know about the that is how the male comes to know that the female is ready to produce. And so that is where they start the reproduction. And then once they mate, the gestation period will be around 5 months. That is 143 to 145 days. Yeah. And the sexual maturity comes in the age of 18 to 24. So once the scent marking is done and once the mating is done, they always give birth to twins, as I mentioned, and for the triplets. So when they are living in a colony, like they are having siblings, there you can see, but the siblings also take care. In this picture, you can see that the sibling is also taking care. The sibling is just 3 or 4 months old, and she is ready for carrying the babies also. So thank you. This was a basic thing that I have come to know in this 10 months. So you guys are open for questions if you have any questions.
Everyone can put their questions in the chat box or they raise a hand. Yeah. Vijay has a question, ma'am.
Yeah, Vijay, can you please put the question in the chat box? The question is not visible for me.
Hello, Vijay. Can you please unmute yourself or put the question in the chat? Yeah. Ma'am, if we have a marmoset, and is there any chance we can identify their age? Vijay is asking.
So we can identify their age, but there should be some, I don't exactly know how I can identify it, but through their size that I personally did this, through their size I could identify their age, but I don't know exactly how you can identify the age till now. I'm sorry for that. We'll just figure out and get back on that.
Sujit is asking what is the actual price of a marmoset?
That is out of topic. Sorry.
Vijay's next question is there any alternatives for gum? What is it composed of?
So I here in the farm, like in the LSeT, we give them the acacia gum, and we can give them nectars, and there are different companies that produces gum that is commercially available. But what we prefer here is, I don't know exactly what alternative can be given, because in the wild they don't actually feed on what gum we give. There are variety of things that they feed on, variety of trees that they go and feed on the gums. But here we give them acacia gum. That is the preferred gum for marmosets. Most in the world, and most of them prefers to give the acacia gum.
Would you like to like the frequency of mealworms, crickets, and other insects offer? What would the frequency be, ma'am?
So the frequency here offered at LSET is like once a day we give them mealworms. So for the smallest marmoset, we don't feed more. Like we give the smallest worms like one or two. For the bigger ones, we can use some. There is a marmoset which happened where to eat only insects and to stay alive. But we can feed them, but overfeeding will cause some problems. So once a day, you can give them mealworms, like mealworms or crickets or whatever they feel like eating.
How often we have to feed and what we have to feed and not to feed?
So how often? And we can feed them three meals a day or 4 meals a day. So the meals can be like, first you can go with vegetables and then come, and the second time you can go with the fruits, any varieties of like combination of fruits that can be given to them. And then you can give them insects. You can just personally, insects can be used for getting a close connection with them, so that you have the, so make them socialize with humans. And then you can feed them nestum, which is good for them. We do feed here nestum, so that's really a light food for them. Yeah, you can give them varieties early. 3 4 meals are good for them.
We need to give any other calcium or vitamin supplements?
So yeah, we have to give them a calcium and vitamin, or the calcium supplement we have to definitely give them. If not, they will be having a bone disease that you have to check with doctor what vitamins and calcium we have to give. So without a veterinarian assistant, you cannot give it any of the supplements.
Also, wait a second.
So there is another question. Should marmosets always be caged, and can we treat them like a tame birds? So definitely not. I would never prefer to cage a marmoset and keep it. You cannot treat it like a bird. A bird can be put in a small, you're having 4 legs and you're putting it in a cage, and there is nothing that you can do. You have to definitely give them a space so that they are active enough, so that they get their sunlight should be given. Everything should be in a proper place, and you cannot put them like a cage bird. Definitely no.
So there's a 6-month-old marmoset baby twisting tongue anytime. This is a normal behavior or nutritional problem?
So even I have come across this one. So they are they're behavioral things, that's not a nutritional problem, but it's a behavioral thing. But you have to also keep a close eye on the nutrition part also, what you feed, and that is also important, because there are some problems which will come up if nutrition is not placed. But the tongue and all is a behavior. It's a behavior of a marmoset that I have come across.
When triplets are born, will they be able to care enough?
So that's a good question. So I have faced this in the farm. So the triplets were there, and we could only save two. As a parent, triplets, they cannot manage until there is a supportive parenting, the cooperative parenting that happens. I have not I'm not sure on how good they can be in parenting, but you can definitely, if you are good in hand feeding, you can take one for hand feeding, and then rest two can be given for their hand raising. They can raise it.
There's one again a question about the food for marmosets, like what we should or what we shouldn't.
What do we or what? So you can give them all these fruits and vegetables, as I mentioned. It's fruits and vegetables, and gum can be given. Gum is really good for their digestion part. So you have to definitely give them gum at least 5 days in a week. And the fruits and vegetables really good for them. But you cannot feed them something like snacks that human eats, chocolates. You cannot give them avocado. You cannot give them the seeds which is having cyanide in it. You can't give those kind of things, but you can definitely give the fruits, vegetables, gum, and worms and insects.
How about feeding a baby Cerelac?
So baby Cerelac, so the one that I have tried is only Nestum, that is the rice. So I have not tried the other Cerelac which we give for babies, but Nestum is good for them. The Cerelac, I'm not sure how much you can feed or no. I'm not sure about the Cerelac at all.
Which kind of atmosphere is more suitable for them?
So do they easily get adapted to
Yeah.
the surroundings? Yeah, Marmoset is they get adapted to any environment that you give them. But all that we have to make sure is they get enough of sunlight, because sunlight gives them more of vitamin D3, which is really important for them. The more you give, more spacious we give, the more active they are, and they are in good health. So you cannot put them in a small place.
There's again question of what not to feed.
So as I mentioned again, you cannot feed all the junk foods. That's a repeated question. Yeah.
Okay.
So as I mentioned again, Cerelac versus Nestum. So Nestum is all about the rice. It's made of rice, which is lightweight. Nestum is again a rice, but I'm not sure what is Cerelac made of because I've never tried it. So I'm sorry for the question.
So as you said, they are from Mexico, South America range. The temperature there is very much different from that of ours. So if we take a marmoset baby, will our temperature be option like optimal for them?
So yeah, because they are good in adapting the atmosphere, we can definitely, they will definitely adapt. But they're in Mexico, their ideal temperature that they can feel good is 19 to 26. 19 to 26 degrees Celsius, that is where they could really feel comfortable with. So that is what they prefer actually. That temperature can be given.
Any
I
first
hope
aid
I.
tips, ma'am?
No, definitely you have to contact the veterinarian for all the first aid. I'm not a pro in that. The basic first aid that you can give, what I do is like I just do the basic first aid that you do for a human being. Just wipe it with the betadine or any solution. Just with betadine solution and directly take it to doctor. That is what I do.
What handful feed?
Visually,
Yeah, you
what
can.
hand feeding formula you use for Marmoset baby? So we use Nan Pro. So we figured out Nan Pro is working good for them. So Nan Pro stage 1 is what we are using here. And my colleagues are also using Nan Pro stage 1 to keep. Animal keeper also is doing the same thing. And we are finding it better for them. If you are finding any other formula is good, and you can go with that formula. But we prefer Nan Pro. So I have seen abroad breeders giving milk to even adult marmosets. Can we give milk? Milk is good source of calcium for them. So we can feed milk for them, but not in more quantity. That lactose also lactogen, I guess, that which is in the milk will also cause any stomach upset or something. So we can give them in a lesser quantity, which I have also come across where the marmoset has also had the milk when I used to feed the babies inside the cage. So you can give them, but not in more quantity. So what health issues they get and any seasonal health issues they get. So again, I'm not sure about what kind of health issues because I always prefer to go to vet anytime I see. But I have not come across that much of health issues with marmosets because they adapt the seasons and things. But you have to again cross check with a veterinarian for that answer. So yeah, after hand raising, can we introduce back to the family? Yeah, we can definitely do that. That will be a best option for the baby also, like to socialize with their own groups and to learn the language. So you have an introducing techniques where you have to slowly introduce the baby to the family so that the baby, is assisting.
அதெல்லாம் போட்டோலாம் காமிச்சிட்டாங்க பேசிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
So do they tolerate several climatic conditions like 45 degrees summer and 60 degrees? But where I live, I've never, I, it's, so where I live, so here the climate is not that bad, but I've not come across any of the things, but 45-degree summer will be little high for them. So we can just keep them because they always prefer, as I knew it, I've come across they are good, they do good till 30 degrees Celsius heat, not below that. I'm sorry if I'm not answering the right one. I'm not sure about it.
Ravanan, you have a question? You raised your hand. No question, ma'am. You can continue.
Next feed, is there anything like percentage of fruit, veggies, and insects requirements so as to maintain a balanced diet? So in nature, they do feed, I don't know, I'm not sure about if there is any percentage, but here we give them around 20% veggies and more of fruits, and insects is in very less because they don't always feed on insects, but the nature is to feed on insects and to eat the eggs from the nests of the birds and all. But I'm not sure how much of percentage that to be given because we are still working on how much of the balanced diet should be. Vaccinations, again, you have to check with doctor. Any vaccination that to be given should be checked with a veterinarian. I'm not sure about where you will get. You have to figure out where you're going to get the roaches and insects. So so there's a question, by what age can they take bath, and can animal shampoo be used or just water to be kept them clean? So I never used the shampoo for a monkey to give a bath, but I have used the warm water we had a hand raising baby where I had to keep her clean. So we used to give her a warm water, just wipe it all over, and then she was good to go. And just water is enough, I guess. I'm not sure about the facilities and accommodation in the marmosets in India. Sorry. So marmosets can be a great pet. So if you're not giving them more of your attention, definitely they get into stress. So keeping marmosets as a pair will be more good because they may not, when you keep them alone, I've seen them, they don't eat more, they're not that active, they just sit in one corner. But when they have their companion, they are literally doing good with that. But definitely they will go under stress if you're not giving our attention over there, and they're definitely going into stress. And sometimes aggression also happens. More of aggression is also there. So yeah, one male with 3 females. Yeah, definitely can be kept. One male with 3 female, but still the one male will only choose one female, and he will definitely breed with her, and that pair will be a dominant pair in the enclosure. So they will keep breeding. So other 2 females can be better given a different partner once they choose one. I'm not sure about the specific mechanisms of adoption. That will be about the whatever the policies is given by government. I'm not sure about that policies. Yeah, hard boiled eggs can be given. It's a part of their routine, daily routine, that you can give them hard boiled eggs. We can just either smash it or shred it and give it to monkeys, and that is a good source of protein, and it is a good source of vitamin D as well. So it can be given, definitely. So how often eggs can be fed? So you can feed them every day. Egg has to be given every day. That is a good source of protein and vitamin D. So it can be given every day. So how we can manage colonies? So because of their urine marking and pheromone markings is there. So yeah, definitely you have to give them a bigger enclosure. That is the main thing in a monkey, that especially a common marmoset or any marmoset. Marking is really important for them because only that is how they show their dominance, and that is how they show that they're ovulating, and that is how they show that is their territory. So definitely if you're giving them the bigger enclosure, and colony can be definitely managed, until if we are figuring out that there is a fight between one marmoset and another one, so then definitely you have to put them to a different enclosure. But colonies can be managed when it's in bigger enclosure, because urine marking, that's not a urine marking, it's a scent marking, we call it. So scent marking is really important for them. You can give them a bigger enclosure. So your cleanser, you have to check with the veterinarian. Again, I'm not sure how good it is. So without a doctor's, veterinarian's assistance, we cannot just take any of the things. Sunlight is very important, because sunlight gives them, that is how they take vitamin D3. The New World primate, especially the common marmoset, that sunlight is a main source for vitamin D3. Only if vitamin D3 is there, the calcium can be observed. So that is, vitamin D3 is for calcium metabolism in the marmoset. Only if not, they will fall sick and they will have any clinical problem. So then it will be a bad thing for them. So minimum cage size, so the enclosure that we give is good enough for them to have spaces. They can move around everywhere. So I'm not sure I don't think there is an ideal, because if you're having a monkey, you have to give them a better space, like at least 4x4 or more than that, 4x6. I'm not sure about how exactly the size should be, but you can give them a very good spacious place so that they can have their scent marking. Everything is important. The scent marking is important. The locomotion for them to move around here and there is important. So we have to give them a nice big enclosure. So boiled chicken, most of them prefer to give boiled chicken, but I've never tried boiled chicken for them, because I give them, that is a good source of protein. We can definitely give them, but I'm not sure about how much you can give them and how often you can feed chicken. But I've heard people giving chicken, but I have personally never tried to feed them chicken. So I prefer to give proteins via insects and through the live feeds, and also with boiled eggs. That is what I. So yeah, questions are done.
I hope everyone's questions have been answered. So once again, thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful session where we all gathered so much information of. There is a question, ma'am. Can we give BSF or Black Soldier 5?
So yeah, we can definitely give them BSF larvae. It's again a source of protein. So we can definitely give them BSF larvae. They do love to eat flies also. We can give them the flies also. But larvae contain more of protein in them. So they have around 50% of protein in them. So we can definitely. Yeah.
So everyone, please share your valuable feedback with us. And again, thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing us with the information on introduction to the world of common marmosets. It was a great session, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.